Hello, this is Kylie from Hello Crafter, and today I'm sharing this project with you, which is a cute Easter egg shaped gift box decorated with the Easter Joy papers. It's a lovely size, perfect for filling with chocolate or small gifts, and it just makes a really cute little treat holder. And I'm going to show you how to make it. I do have a PDF with all the instructions and measurements and things. That should be linked below the video, so feel free to download that. This is a project actually that I got inspiration from Sam Calcott from Mixed Up Crafts. So I don't know if she was the original person who designed this project, but she's definitely inspired me to create this. So check out her video too. And there's other videos online if you search, where they show different sizes of these as well, which are really good. And so I'll link those videos below as well, so you can go and refer to those and see some different ideas. So you're going to start with a sheet of, this is just A4 cardstock. We're going to trim this down. But in terms of the other tools that you're going to need, a trimmer with a scoring blade, and a ruler and pencil. I use my bone folder and my scissors, so they're the main things. I'm also going to attach some ribbon. You don't have to, you can just glue the gift box closed and just have it as a standalone box. But if you want to add a ribbon to hang, then you'll need a single hole punch as well. So let's get started with preparing our cardstock. I'm working with inches for this one just because it's easier numbers. So the cardstock, the A4 cardstock, is already 8 1/4 inches wide, which is fine. But if you turn it so that the long edge is in the trimmer, you can actually just cut that down to 6 inches. With the long edge of your cardstock in the trimmer facing upwards, then you're going to score at 1 inch, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And you're leaving that little 1/4 of an inch tab down the right hand side. If you rotate it 90 degrees clockwise, so you've got the short edge along the top now and that 1/4 inch tab on the bottom, score at 1 inch, 2, 3, and 5 inches. So what you end up with is the squares and then one section that are rectangles, which form the top of the box. So we're going to create some just extra score lines now. This is just going to be helping us later. Every other square along the top and the bottom, we're going to create a vertical score line down to the next horizontal score line. So place your cardstock in your trimmer so the edge lines up with 1 1/2, and then you're just going down from the top edge to that first score line, and then you're going from that bottom score line down to the bottom edge at 1 1/2. So make sure your trimmer blade is out of the way and get your scoring blade. So you can kind of, in a good light, you may not be able to see it on this video, but on a good light, you should be able to see your score line. So I actually just line it up with the score line. So the marker on the blade, on the scoring blade, just lines up with that line, and I just score upwards, and then I go again down to that score line it up there and go down. So I'm creating these little score lines that don't go all the way down my cardstock, just to the line. So that was at 1 1/2. Then we skip to 3 1/2 and do that again. And then we skip to 5.5 and do that again. 7.5 is the last one. So yeah, we've got these little half score lines that's kind of divide the squares in half effectively. So I am just going to, I'm going to mark the bottom of that so you'll be able to see more clearly. Mark the bottom of the score line, because that's the point that we need now to make our diagonal score lines. I think I may have chosen the wrong colour for you to see this, but I'll keep moving it up closer so you can see what I'm doing. Now we want to create diagonals, so we need to make triangles in these sections. Going from the bottom of that score line where you've made that mark there, down to the corner of that rectangle section to make a triangle. And the same this way, but in the other direction. We're going from that bottom of the top of that score line up to each corner to make a triangle. So I'm going to start doing that, but then I'm going to mark it up for you so you can see more clearly. You can use a ball tool or a scoring tool. I'll just use my bone folder and a ruler. But because my table is quite hard, it's always worth putting something underneath, and these cardboard backing things that come at the back of some of your papers are the perfect thing because it just provides a little bit of cushion. So I'm going to place the point of my bone folder on that pencil mark, line up my ruler, and then swing my ruler to line up with the corner and just score. Same with the other side. I'm just going to do that on all of, it's sort of every other one effectively where you've got those marks. You can see those sort of long triangles there. I'll just turn it the other way so I can do the same again on these smaller triangles. This is one that I've marked up with pencil so you can see what you end up with. These are all score lines. So what I like to do before I start cutting is just give everything a really good fold. So my horizontal and my vertical score lines, I'm not going to fold the diagonals yet. Everything gets folded the same way like this. So these are all effectively mountain folds. Your bone folder is a really good tool for making sure everything's really nicely crisply folded. Okay, so that's what it'll look like. They're all folded in the same way. But if you just sort of flatten it out, these diagonal lines now need to be folded the opposite direction. So I just put it flat on the desk, put my fingers in the triangle, and then just sort of lift up along that diagonal line. And I just make sure that those folds are kind of going in that direction. Same with those. You won't be able to kind of move it a lot, but just enough to give it so that it knows which way it needs to fold later. Yeah. So now we need to do some cutting. I'll show you where we're going to cut. So the longer triangles are at the top and your 1/4 inch tab is down the right hand side. So these are the top tabs and these will be the bottom tabs. And we're going to cut away some of these tabs. So the tabs that have this center score line that we did need to be removed. So I'm going to put cross next to the ones that we're going to get rid of. We're going to get rid of this little rectangle in each corner too. So same along the bottom, we're going to get rid of the squares that have that centre score line in. So cut along the edges of the squares first, up to that first score line. Same on the other side. And then you can just start cutting those away. So you do the corner ones first, and then you can fold back or fold forward the next tab so that it's out the way. So you don't want to cut those ones off. And just keep cutting the ones away that you've marked. Make sure to leave that last one. And the same here. And all of that can be cut away. So this is what you are left with. And if you find it easier now to actually give these a bit more of a fold, you can. So now we need to add our papers. So I've used some of the Easter Joy papers for this. It's a gorgeous set of papers, lovely spring-like colours. It's got the foiling effect on them, and it's very thick. It's almost like card. So it's brilliant. And I use this kind of blue one on this one. I have some pieces already cut here. And what you need is 14 little squares that measure 7/8 of an inch by 7/8 of an inch. And then you need 4 rectangles that are 7/8 of an inch wide and 1 7/8 of an inch high. We'll glue these on. So again, that's the top. So the rectangle shapes are at the top. We'll glue those 4 on first because they're easy. For the squares, we want to go all along the next section down. And then the next row, we just have to glue the squares onto the unscored sections. So the first one, skip one, because that's got the diagonal score lines in. We just don't want to cover those up. So you have 4 squares to glue on the next row. Then you'll have 2 squares left over. That will go at the top of the box and the bottom of the box. So we can just get those glued on now because that's going to be these 2 here. At this stage, decide if you do want to have your ribbon hanger or not. If you do, we're going to punch holes in these 4 squares. And the easiest way to do that, because you want your holes right in the middle, is to take your pencil and your ruler again and carefully line up diagonal to diagonal to get the very centre of the square. You don't have to actually do the full line. As long as your ruler is lined up on the diagonal, corner to corner, you could just make a little cross in the middle. And if you've got an eraser, you can erase these lines later if you want to. So I've got my centre point, and now I can take my single hole punch and we can line that up and do a little hole in the centre of all of these four. Okay, now to assemble. Flip it over so the undecorated side is facing up, and then fold a section of it round to it to reveal your 1/4 of an inch tab, and then place glue on the tab. Just a little bit. You can use tape as well, thin tape. And now fold this section over to meet it and glue it down. Just press it down. Folding it flat like this just ensures a really good seal and a good fit. Then you have something like this, like a tube, and we're going to have to close the bottom. So the smaller triangles, give them a little push inwards. So the triangles get pushed in like that. Just sort of kind of squeeze the sides a little bit and make sure they're folding inwards like that. Just do that gently on each of those triangles. You can start bringing those tabs together. Squeezing everything together so that all those 4 tabs will overlap. So this decorated one will go last. So take the 2 opposite sides that don't have any papers on and put glue or tape. I think tape's probably going to be easier because you don't need to hold it to dry. You can kind of go in and pinch and just make sure those 2 squares are lined up. And I am going to use some tape for these 2 just because it is much easier. So I'll put a piece on there, another piece on there. Okay, so the next one can go on. Just push the triangles inwards, make sure that square overlaps as far as you can, and then the same on this side. So try and push it in as far as it will go to overlap as much as you can. There. Then you've got like a flat base now, so you can actually get your bone folder in and just give it pressed down. And the same with the top really. So push these triangles inwards so the tops meet. Give them a good shape. And we're going to put some ribbon in. So choose some coordinating ribbon. This is about, I would go for about 25 to 30 centimetres. Fold it in half and put a knot in the bottom. Just trim. And now we're going to thread this, the top of the loop, through the first hole. I want the decorated square to be at the top, so I'm just going to go round to that one. You can fill your egg now if you want to. Then the next one opposite, pull it tight, and next one, and then the last one. So there it is, the cute little Easter egg box. They'll look great hanging in a little Easter tree or hanging in the garden for the kids to find. And I just think they're really sweet. I know it's a lot of scoring to do initially, but once you've kind of done a few, you can be really speedy with these, so you can make lots of them. And yeah, give it a go, and I'd love to see pictures of your versions of these as well. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.